All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praises, all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Chakodash, Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, Yahweh Shai, the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. I'd like to say Tawada or thank you to Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai for the Rachakwadash. The Rachakwadash is the Holy Spirit, which is the driving force behind these lessons. I want to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone to rule well. Peace, blessing, grace, and safety goes out to all the Akim, Wazaquanium, all around the world, preaching and teaching His word and truth and in sincerity. Shalom to the hopeful elect, 144,000 and 1/3 remnant. All right. Start your call with the Men of Valor, South Carolina, coming back with another lesson. And I just want to hearken on about how us brothers and sisters in the faith have to fight for the majesty, so to speak. Okay, and I'm going to bring out some scriptures that one of our forefathers, Paul, he used sports as a reference because he was in the Roman captivity, as we are in the second leg of the Roman captivity. So they was using the same bread and circus sports and whatnot to entertain the people. Okay, and we are those men coming back in our lots. So the prophets of these times are in the Roman captivity, witnessing the same things, witnessing the same bread and circus that they use. So the Apostle Paul used sports as a reference to speak about contending for the faith, contending for the kingdom. All right, so I just want to bring out a couple of those precepts, because last night, all right, you had the NBA finals. Okay, Jake like basketball. The Thunder won the finals, and SGA, this dude on the screen right here, had a killer season. All right, so SGA joins NBA champions, MVP, and scoring champions list. So he won the championship, the finals MVP, conference finals MVP, okay, the regular season MVP, and the scoring title, right? So he did all that, meaning he had to put in a lot of work. He put in grinded. He put in a lot of work, played hard, grinded hard all through the off season, through the season, kept continuously put in work, was a team player, focused. All right, and we got to do the same thing for the faith to get in the kingdom, to be of that number, put our best foot forward, to be of that hopeful elect. All right, and who is our GM? All right, Yahweh, right? Who the head coach? Yahweh Shai. That's who we plan for. So we gotta, put our best foot forward. Okay, so use an example as the Apostle Paul did, real quick. All right, so I'm gonna get this in the NIV also, but I'm gonna read it in KJV first. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. It says, "Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize. So run that ye may obtain." It says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible." Yeah, so what you got SGA, did all that working out, all that dedication, okay, sacrifice, all that work he put in for what? A corruptible crown, right? All right. Yeah, he put in all that work for a corruptible crown, because with that NBA trophy, that championship trophy, is corruptible. It can dust, it can break, the rings can break. All right, the records he's setting can break. All right, it can get dust on it, get stolen. All kind of things can happen to the rings and the trophy that these guys get. The glory is going to fade away. Nobody going to think about this in 40 years, okay? We ain't going to be here that long, but just, you get the point. So they doing it for a corruptible crown. It says, now they do it to attain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible crown. So how much more we got to be disciplined, put in work, all right, strive, Okay, put our best foot forward, work, suffer, okay, deal. How much more we for an incorruptible crown? What's the incorruptible crown? Being the first fruits, okay, of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, being the first ones into those chariots, being of the elect. That's the incorruptible crown. Okay. It says, I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air. So he saying, giving sports analogies, saying he ain't just boxing to just be boxing, just running to be running. He trying to win the race. All right, and that's what us brothers and sisters doing. We trying to win the race. We trying to be of that elect. Now, ultimately, the elect is already ordained, already chosen. We know that from the foundation of the earth, but we are putting our best foot forward, okay, to be of that number, to be doing the things that the elect doing, having the characteristic of the elect. All right, we in this truth because we want to be of the elect, man. We want to win. We want to win. We want to be of the elect is the best. That 144,000 and that 1/3, that's the best of the Israelites. And we want that. We want to be that. So we got to follow laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of our ability. Put in the work. Do the things that pleases Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. It says, but I keep under my body and bring it to subjection, lest that by any means when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway. All right, so we're going to get it in the NIV to make it more plain. Because Paul, things were sometimes hard to be understood, the certain analogies and whatnot. Okay, but right now he's speaking on sports analogy. And I'm doing the same thing because like I said, he was in a Roman captivity, seeing the different bread and circus, seeing the sports, the boxing, the racing, and all that. So when he was writing to the other believers, this is how he was kicking it to them. All right, this is 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 24. In the NIV, it says, do you not know that in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize. All right? So, yeah, a lot of people out there preaching and teaching the word, all right? But some are doing it deceitfully. All right, but the hopeful elect are doing it to win the prize. And what's the prize that we are focused on? Being delivered, salvation. All right? Run in such a way to win the prize. So Paul telling them, put in work, be disciplined, do the things we got to do to get the prize. And these are the things, man, that, you got to hype yourself up, boost yourself up to do better, man. All right, because we in this flesh, the flesh wins sometimes, but you got to shake that and put your best foot forward, go hard. Verse 25, everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. See? SGA had to go into strict training to win that championship, right? So how for a corruptible crown? So how much more for us for incorruptible crown? We got to go into strict training, and strict training starts in your mind, man. Okay, not getting on the camera making 1,000 videos, or you doing this, going highways, byways, with the microphones trying to cut everybody that walk by. No, man, strict training starts in your mind. Okay. It says they do it, so it says everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. All right? Being the first fruits, being that 144,000 and 1/3 is going to be remembered forever. It's going to last forever. It's going to be honored, all right, and praised, okay, and looked upon as with great statue forever. Okay? Will be known as the elect, the first fruits of the deliverance forever. Okay? So how much more us, man? We got to go twice as hard mentally, physically, spiritually, than all these athletes and then all these people in the world for the prize that we want. And our going hard is mostly 90% what spiritually. We got to go hard spiritually. Strict training spiritually. Strict training your mind to not be conforming to the wiles of the devil, to not follow these and get involved with these other philosophies and stuff. Got to have strict training in our mind to do that. It says, therefore, I do not run like someone runneth aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike a blow to my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. All right? So he do what he got to do so he don't get disqualified for the prize. Because he want that prize. He got to play the game right. We got to be in this thing right. We got to do the right thing in this faith right so we don't get disqualified from the prize, man. And the prize is what? Getting beamed up in those ships. Getting delivered from the destruction that's coming to Babylon the Great. All right, let's keep it moving. This is Revelation 14:2. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters and as a voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. See, that 144,000 not going to be defiled with women. With that women represent other philosophies. They're going to go to strict training, strict dieting, okay, strict working out mentally, okay, locking in, being disciplined, all right, not worrying about them hoes, all right. And the hoes I'm talking about right now is these other philosophies. All right, the other ones too. But the other philosophies, all right, they not going to be worried about that. They're going to be locked in, training, so they can get that crown, so they can win that prize. And what's that prize? Getting beamed up in those ships, man. So they're going to stick to the doctrine. They're going to preach the word right. They're going to fast. They're going to read. They're going to pray. They're going to pay tithes. They're going to study. They're going to be a brethren. They're going to preach the word. They're going to put their best foot forward. They're going to be sincere. They're not going to change the doctrine. Okay? That's that strict training. That's the hard work that they're going to put in to receive that crown. Just like SGA put in that work, man, to win that ship, to win the prize. It says, these are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto Yahweh and to the Lamb. All right, so the elect are going to not be defiled. They're going to go hard. They're going to put in work. All right, this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 4:28. Strive for the truth unto death, and Yahweh shall fight for thee. So you got to strive for the truth. You got to fight for the truth. You got to put in work for the truth. You can't give up. All right? SGA and them boys had to put in work. They had to strive. They had to fight. They had to beat other teams. They had to come back from wins. They had to keep playing, battle injuries to win that prize. And the same for us spiritually. All right? And Paul also used sports reference, man, because he was in the same, all right, dealing with the first part of the beast, all right, the first Roman Empire, man. Okay? First Rome, now we're in Rome 2.0. But Paul was seeing the sporting events and writing to the other believers, okay, giving them analogies about how to fight, how to be strong, how to be disciplined to try to get the prize. And what's the prize? Salvation, deliverance, being of the elect. Okay? This is Colossians 3:23. And whatsoever ye do, do it heartily as to Yahweh and not unto men, knowing that of Yahweh ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord Yahweh Shah Mashiach. Okay? So what? All right, if you put in work your heartedly to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, put in this work, okay? Be disciplined, put in that work, practice, in truth and in sincerity, what's going to happen? Knowing that of Yahweh ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance. You're going to receive the reward. What reward do we want? What reward are we trying to receive? The kingdom, deliverance, salvation. All right, the inheritance. We want the promises. We want the laws, statutes, and commandments in our inward parts, being the first fruits, all right, of the kingdom of heaven. All right, that's the reward of the inheritance. So, but what? You got to be disciplined. You got to work hard. You got to put in that work to get the reward of the inheritance. It just ain't going to come to you. All right? SGA won a scoring title, finals MVP, conference finals MVP. Why? Because he put in that work, man. So how much more us for an incorruptible crown? People put in work in Babylon the Great for corruptible things all the time. People put in hell of work for their cars, their houses, their career, and all that. And all those things are corruptible. So how much more us for these incorruptible? We got to spiritually put in that work, spiritually be in that gym, spiritually grinding, spiritually not tapping out, spiritually not falling for the other philosophies. Okay? And this is 2 Timothy 2:5. And if a man also strive for masteries, yet is he not crowned except he strive lawfully. So what? We got to do this thing the right way. Okay? We got to follow the rules of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. We got to put in the work lawfully. Under the rules. We can't cheat. All right? And cheating is what? Changing the doctrine. Doing it for vainglory. All right? Not breaking down the scriptures right. That's a penalty. You can't win like that. You don't get the kingdom like that. You don't, and because the kingdom is what? The prize. Being of that first fruits, being delivered, all right, from Babylon the Great is the prize. That's the championship. That's the victory. All right, the scriptures talk about getting the victory over the beast in his image all the time, right? We want that victory. In order to win, you got to play the rules how Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua wants them played. All right, it says, and if a man also strive for mastery, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. Let me get this in the NIV now. This is 2 Timothy 2:5. It says, similarly, anyone who competes as an athlete does not receive the victor's crown except by competing according to the rules. All right? Same for us, man. You don't get the victor's crown unless you do this thing the right way. And how the Lord say you got to worship him in truth and in sincerity. Okay? So, the point was made, just hearkening on how we got to put in work and grind hard and be disciplined for an incorruptible crown the same way that people in the world do it for their corruptible crowns. And how the Apostle Paul used, sport analogies to bring that out to the fellow believers. So I just wanted to, take a page out the Apostle book and bring that out to the fellow believers using the analogy of the captivity I'm in now. Okay? So once they call Halal Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, Shalom.